James Rogers here, and this is 60 Minutes. We're back here at GoPro to talk to Nick Woodman and a few of his employees about the organizational culture, the sources of power, Nick's decision making, and GoPro's performance. Today we're sitting in with Nick Woodman, CEO and founder of GoPro, and also a new employee. And we get the treat to witness one of Nick Woodman's culture meetings.
First, I'd like to say welcome to the latest edition of my cultural meeting. I like to do this with all of our new employees to really let you know what type of culture we have here at GoPro, and I'd also like to let you know a little bit about myself and the values, behaviors, and attitudes that I personally have that I like to involve and incorporate into the GoPro idea of business. To start off, I'd say I would like to talk about our culture a little bit. We have a very strong culture here at GoPro, a very strong culture that we have rights of an integration. We like getting people involved and doing activities to make them feel as if they're one. An example of this is our daily surfing sessions that we have. We like to get our new employees, they might not surf, but we like to get them out of the office and get them integrated with our fellow coworkers. And I have to say, artifacts is another big thing that we really value here at GoPro. To start off with, GoPro itself is an artifact. We pride ourselves on the GoPro. It's such an innovative product that people really, it resonates with them as, hey, I want to go outside, I want to be active, I want to do something different. And we like to take that mentality into the office and incorporate it into our strong culture that we do have here at GoPro. And also, I would like to say is our stages of socialization. You being a new employee here at GoPro is something that is really special. We're really excited about the opportunity for yourself. But there's three major steps that I have within our culture here at GoPro. The first is the anticipatory socialization. This is the stage for you. You accept your contract, your start date has been set, and this is why we're having this meeting. You're starting to anticipate things that you feel like you might have to be involved with here at GoPro. Then we move into the encounter stage, which is where you physically encounter these things within the GoPro workplace. This is a crucial stage as you finally are able to, all those things you anticipate, are those actually what come true? How are you involved in the corporate culture? That's something that's really important. And finally is your change, is how do you adapt when these situations arise that maybe you have not expected? How do you deal with that? Those are three stages that I think are very important within the GoPro culture and what we really embrace. Now, if we look over here, I would like to talk a little bit about, myself, some of my traits and what do I value and things like that. According to the MBIT, I would have to say I'm a very strong component of extroversion. I'm an extrovert myself, and I believe that having a strong corporate culture that embraces extroversion really helps employees come out of their shell and really create a culture that really embraces everyone as one. And also I believe that sensing, I like making decisions on sensing, what am I sensing and what am I feeling? Those are really crucial factors that I think that really can help make GoPro a great company. And I would also have to say is when we move to values, these are values I personally have, and also I believe that being the CEO and the founder of this company is I make sure that they are involved within our company of GoPro. It's very important to me. When we look at some of my values, ambition is huge. So every day when you come to the workplace, I'm really going to want you to be ambitious with your ideas and how you work. And also with honesty, is you need to be honest with me. That's one thing I tell all of my employees. If you have something outside of work that is bothering you that might affect some of your work, you have to let me know. That's honesty is something that I'm really large and a big component of. Imagination is also huge. GoPro, I made it on imagination, and that's why I take that value and I put it right into our strong culture. You have to have an imagination and want to be very, strongly with new ideas and be creative. And one long-term, value that I have is living an exciting, active life. And I seek to put that in all of my employees within the strong culture that we have developed here at GoPro. And if we look at some of the behavior of people here at GoPro, I would also have to say is ethical behavior is very big. It ties back to one of my values of honesty. There's going to be organizational influences as well as individual influences. Which yourself as an individual, you are going to have a component within our organizational ethical behavior. And those two factors, we want to make sure that there is no disconnect between them. We want our individuals and organization acting in an ethical manner. I pride myself on being very ethical in my decisions, and hopefully I can lead my people to make the same type of ethical decisions and ethical behavior that is right for our people and also for our customers and our product that we're creating. So that is something that is very strong within our culture at GoPro. And if you look at some attitudes, the attitudes that I involve myself within our corporate culture are very huge. I would have to say we have affect emotions. I would have to say is we really want to have effective emotions. Effective use of emotions is with people is we do not want to have cognitive dissonance between people and maybe things that they have to do in work. We want to make sure that everyone is comfortable within their actions that they are performing at work. That's something that we really try to train our new employees about is we want to limit this disconnect that people have. Is we want to have high job satisfaction. Usually when you see cognitive dissonance within your companies, you're usually having a low job satisfaction because you're uncomfortable within the work setting. Here at GoPro, we strive to make everyone very comfortable in their job environment and have high job satisfaction, as we believe within this strong culture that we will have higher rewards financially, as well as building a stronger team that can help propel us into the future and making GoPro one of the best products in the entire world. And also, looking at this, is we want high organizational citizenship. It's all about going the extra mile. When I created the GoPro, I wanted to make something newly innovative and out there. That's something that's different. And I believe that the GoPro, because it embraces this categories, is we want someone that's going to go the extra mile and do the right thing for our customers, our product, as well as our organization. And finally is I want an effective commitment from my employees. We're training you, but we want you to realize that you can have a positive influence in our company. And that is something that's truly important to me, is I want people that feel like they can have an effective commitment to the company and everything of that nature. So as you can see, by sitting in on this session, I feel like you have a better understanding of what GoPro really embraces within our culture, within our values, our behavior, and our attitudes. And I believe that the attitudes, values, and behavior all are things of myself that as the owner and the founder of this company, I feel like I have created a culture that aligns with these factors. And I think that I've been very successful in leading a team of employees that carry out these values, behaviors, and attitudes within our strong culture. And through this, within our strong culture, I believe that it's really important that our employees feel this, but also as guests. When people come in, I want them to see our strong culture and see our values, attitudes, and behaviors when they come into the office. That I don't want people wondering about our company. We want to make sure that our guests and our employees alike see our mission, see what we're all about.
And now, a quick message from our sponsors. James Rogers here again, and we just learned about some of the cultural aspects of the GoPro family. But let's move on to a new topic. I'm sitting here with new employee Christina once again, and you've only been on the job for a few days, but I figure you have a pretty good sense of what the culture is like here at GoPro. So let me just jump right into it. What source or sources of power do you believe that Nick appears to possess and use?
I think that he definitely embodies social power by creating motivation in his own working environment for his employees. And he definitely exhibits expert power by being a credible leader that is confident. He continues to make his employees a priority and does so by meeting their needs and concerns continuously. He also constantly shows legitimate power. He's a very cordial and polite person, very easygoing, easy to talk to. As mentioned, he's confident, clear, and concise about what he wants and what he expects from his employees. He made GoPro so others could express themselves. This definitely leads to his ethical power.
Do you believe that he's effective in these strategies?
Yeah, I would say so. I think by being a great communicator and someone who is willing to listen to his employees and get feedback from them, as well as maintain his position and be professional, he's created a successful organization and overall company.
Of the influential tactics, which do you think that Nick is most likely to use?
He probably uses participatory decision making, which is a creativity enhancing tactic. He's also very accessible to his employees. He's sincere and interpersonal in his day-to-day relationships with his employees.
And do you think that these tactics are effective?
Yeah, I think they're effective. He's influential because his employees believe in him, they like him, and they want to follow him, and he overall inspires them every day.
That's great. Do you see organizational politics encouraged or discouraged with Nick?
I think from being here only a couple days, I still see organizational politics probably being encouraged. Nick has a lot of power, but instead of being intimidating and being kind of like the scary boss leader, he uses his power positively and uses it to influence his employees and make them feel comfortable in the workplace.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. James Rogers here again. I mentioned earlier in the show about a big decision the leader of GoPro, Nick Woodman, had to make. What is this big decision that we're all wondering about?
So Nick and GoPro have just decided recently to go through with the initial public offering of GoPro, which is, the company is now officially public. And on the first day, they made $427 million, which was 17.8 million shares at $24 a share, which was much higher than expected.
How did Nick come to this decision?
Nick realized that there was a big opportunity for the company to go public, and with its success so far, he decided to go through with the IPO. He evaluated the decision, realized that there was a risk, but if it was successful, it would be very beneficial to everyone involved. They used marketing to make sure that everyone knew that the company was going public, so people were there to support it and buy shares in the IPO. The follow-up was very successful, and the financial income of the company has since increased greatly. I would say that Nick actually used the Z model of decision-making to come to this conclusion. He first examined the facts. He realized that there weren't really many alternatives besides not going through with the IPO, and so he decided the IPO would be the best bet, although there was risk. He also thought logically and determined that the IPO was the best option for the company and all parties involved. And then he really did consider throughout the whole thing, though, who was being affected by this all, the employees, their families, and any other stakeholders in the company. As soon as Nick decided to go through with the IPO, the escalation of commitment was amazing within the company. Everyone was on board, everyone stuck with it, everyone was excited for Nick and the company and where it would go. And Nick maintained the most amazing positive attitude throughout it all. I'm sure he was completely nervous and completely freaking out, but super positive. He stayed excited, and I really think his attitude affected how everyone looked at the IPO. He followed his intuition really with this big time, and he knew that the IPO would be the best decision for all parties involved, and he just knew that that was the right thing to do. You could tell. He used his creativity to create the GoPro camera, and he wanted to share this creativity with people. And the more people he could share with that was possible through the IPO. They all got a little monetary share in it, opposed to just the creativity that GoPro allows. It was inspiring to see how he did all this, and the passion and success of GoPro is now being given back to all the people that were involved in it.
What a truly courageous decision. You heard it here first. James Rogers, 60 Minutes. Thank you. Next, we're going to talk to GoPro's financial analyst about their performance over the last 5 years.
So this graph shows the revenue and net income of GoPro since 2010. It only goes back to 2010 because this was really the huge jump in revenue and profits for the company. A lot of this info couldn't even be publicly found before 2010. So as you can see in the graph, the difference between 2010 and 2014 is huge. In this graph, 2014 looks so small because only the first quarter is being shown. But alone in the first quarter of 2014, GoPro made almost 4 times as much revenue than the entire 2010 year. Overall, the revenues and profits for the company have been increasing. This success not only has to do with how innovative Nick Woodman and his company are, but the success also has to do with his employees. As mentioned previously, Nick is a leader who shows expert, legitimate, and social power on a daily basis. This leads to the success of not only himself, but also his employees. With his knack for creativity and innovation, along with his leadership skills, both him and his employees have created and thrived off a company that has become so successful and will continue to be successful. This is overall truly the link between him and the financial performance of GoPro. Successful leadership has overall led him to a successful company. The following infographics show the differences between employee sizes for GoPro. This part describes the growth of employees that GoPro has. This dates back even further than 5 years ago. GoPro started off with just 7 employees. They were people that Woodman knew, whether from college, high school, and even family members. This really reiterated the idea that his employees are truly his family and that the culture of his company can tend to be more family-oriented. Now the company has almost 400 employees, with a board of directors that consists of only 6 people. For as much revenue that this company brings in per year, it would seem that maybe the current amount of employees they have is not enough. However, what really matters here is the efficiency of the employees. By having innovative and efficient employees, the entire company can be successful and make a huge profit. This really relates to Nick Woodman because he's overall truly innovative and efficient. He's always been an efficient leader who gets ahead of the game, makes his mark, and serves over 100 countries with the help of these 400 employees. Efficiency really is a huge characteristic of both Woodman and GoPro.
CJ Umentum here, not James Rogers anymore. And personally, I learned a lot about Nick Woodman and what kind of leader he is. He truly inspires all of his employees and those close to him to get up and go out and just do it, whatever that might be. He has an infectious personality, and just seeing him in videos, it is easy to see why he is loved and why everyone readily follows him. In terms of what type of leader I would like to be based on Nick, I have learned to be a leader that everyone can connect with and trust. I've also learned to always be myself because, yes, Nick has a big personality, yet everyone seems to embrace that. To be honest, I wouldn't have done anything differently than Nick did. He was following his dreams while doing what he loved, which was surfing, and the immense amount of success just followed because he was doing what he loved. I do believe that Nick is ethical and engages in socially responsible behavior because he has used his gifts to give the world GoPro, which, as he describes, is a completely new way for the world to express themselves, which I think is really cool. He truly cares and loves GoPro and truly cares about his employees.
After doing this research project on Nick Woodman, I definitely learned a lot about himself as well as the GoPro product. I would really have to say that I learned how innovative this company really is and seeing the power that people can have in innovation. Coming from Nick, basically having a multi-million-dollar company in the computer industry, have it completely crash and basically doesn't have any money. Ends up going on a surfing trip and then creating a product and designing it through his own personal experiences to create such an amazing product that now he is very wealthy and loves his job and loves leading the GoPro. So I just really learned all about the mission that people can have and how you can obtain that mission through having strong core values, good attitudes, and basically learn more about basically the culture of a business that he's created. That something is so unique and different than most companies operate under. And by having that strong culture, it can really help to make a great future and a great present for GoPro. And then I also, through this process of learning at Nick and seeing how he's such an extrovert and loves being around people and very active leadership style, I definitely learned that my leadership style definitely parallels that of Nick. I definitely love, interacting with people, being an extrovert, and I realize that I'm an initiating leader. I like making sure everyone knows where the roles are, how can I help them make them better, and understand what can I do to motivate them. So I definitely see that type of my leadership style, and I want to gain the trust from your employees. Definitely what Nick has done. So I would definitely say that Nick is truly a great leader, and I think it's something definitely to inspire to be, as being as successful as he has been. And I'd have to say is I really would not have done much different than Nick would have done developing GoPro and everything of that nature, because he definitely took what he had, which was not much, after he had to sell his, lost his company and was just going and surfing, for around half a year, and just coming back and creating a product. And he used his innovation, his passion, and basically worked really, really hard to get his product to where it'd be. So I would not really have to change anything that he would have done when building GoPro. And I would have to say Nick does engage in ethical business behaviors, as he always stands up for the focusing on the rights of his employees. He focuses on justice, and also it supports utilitarianism of making the greatest good for the greatest number. So I think those factors are really great. But I would have to say is that his business perspective, some people could consider it not being socially responsible business behaviors, because his product is meant for people pushing the limit. Some people might conceive it to be not very socially responsible, in being that people with this whole new trend of extreme selfies, and people climbing illegal buildings and taking extreme footage and almost putting their lives in danger, and also other people. So there could be some questionable people could have basically a perspective on it being it's questionable business behaviors through that. But overall, it was great to learn about Nick Woodman, and I definitely learned a lot about myself as well as him and his leadership style for the GoPro.
So I've learned a lot about Nick Woodman. To be honest, I had no idea who he was. I knew the name, but I didn't know much more about him than that. I knew he was with GoPro, but I've learned that he just has an amazing business culture, and he did exactly what he wanted to do from the very beginning. And he's a leader for the people, and he really wants to inspire others with his products and his just way of life. Based on Nick, I would like to be a democratic leader, and also a leader that's very considerate of others. I think that a democratic leader is the best because everyone feels that they're part of the collaboration. This is how Nick does it, and I think that that's a great way to do it. It's also been very successful for him, so I feel like it could be successful. Also, being a considerate leader, you really care about the people, and you really make them feel like they're cared about in the company or in the business culture. Nick made some big decisions, and I really don't think I would do anything different than he did. I think he stayed organized, creative, and passionate throughout all of his work, and I would hope to be the same type of person and type of leader if I were to make big decisions and run a company. I also think that he thought through all of his decisions and included his intuition and creativity in all of them, which really made GoPro what it is because it's such a creative company. I think Nick is an ethical leader because he made so many decisions, but he considered every single person in all of his decisions. And I think that's an ethical way of behaving when you're running a large company. An example would be the IPO. That was ethical because financially it would help all of his employees, it would help him, it would help others. It was just a great way to give back to a lot of people.
So when we started this project, I don't think we had any idea of who we wanted to do, but someone had thrown around the idea of doing our project on Nick Woodman, and honestly, I don't think I knew much or anything at all about him, except that he was supposedly the guy who created the GoPro. So after doing this project, I've learned not only about his personality, but also his leadership style, power, possession, things like that, to name a few. I've learned about his company as a whole, the culture of his company. I've also gained a sense about him as a person. He's very innovative, creative, easygoing. He's the type of business leader who people want to look up to and do look up to. He's inspirational and influential. He's not someone who's just made millions of dollars off of what he's created. He's someone that's made an impact on the lives of people who want to film everyday activities in a more creative light. Just learning these facts about someone I don't even know makes me want to have a similar leadership style. If I'm going to lead people, I want to be someone that's not afraid of taking risks, someone that's creative and innovative, and also someone who works really positively with their own employees. I want to develop relationships with those employees and be a respected leader. And I also definitely believe that Nick Woodman is an ethical leader. He's confident and likes to gain insight not just from himself, but also from his employees as well. He's not afraid to seek out different opinions and get some insight from that. And I think this also makes him a socially responsible leader because he focuses heavily on the rights of his employees. He gives his employees tons of benefits, including various types of insurance plans, vacation time, various financial plans, things like that. He allows his employees to speak up, to give them insight. He allows them to have basic rights as employees. He's truly, I think, overall, an influential leader to all of those who work for him in his company.